Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annalisa and this is Homemade Sunshine. So, welcome to my little sewing corner of my attic with my handy dandy sewing machine. So, in this week's video, we are going to be hemming this dress, which is already inside out. It's a vintage dress from the brand Vintage Blue, and I really like this dress. Can't wear it currently because I am very pregnant, but I would like to be able to wear it again eventually. And it had a flaw. So, when I first started wearing this dress, I wore it a couple times, it was fine. But then part of the fabric, which I wish I had filmed this beginning part for you guys, but alas, I did not. But the fabric had, you see how it's this light blue color, had right along the hem in one spot turned, like faded completely. So this is a very long dress. I'll very delicately show you the ends down here because they're already pinned, but it turned color, but it was on the very hem, so I thought maybe I can shorten the hem. Now that sounds very adventurous for me because I've never really sewn much before. I've made one pillow. I took a sewing machine class to learn how to use this sewing machine. And yeah, so we're gonna try. I thought with a 50-cent dress, this would be great because I would like to get into sewing my own clothes at some point. So yeah, we're gonna try this out. Not right now am I wanting to get into sewing clothes because I'm almost 30 weeks pregnant, and yeah, if I try to do a custom thing based on my measurements, they change every week, so who knows what it would come out with. So let's get started and we will see how this goes. And I've already gotten it pinned on the bottom. I have wound, I have gotten my machine set up, which you'll see in this next clip, and let's just get sewing. All right, y'all, so at this beginning part, you see I am trying to wind the bobbin. So I have the full book of directions and the quick guide, and I can't tell you, it took me forever because this is only my second time using the sewing machine and my first time using it after I took my class. So it took me a very long time, which is why you can tell, you can see from my look of concentration, and I forgot to move where you put the little bobbin at on the top for the thread to go on it. I was supposed to slide it to the right to click it into place, and I didn't remember to do that for a very embarrassingly long amount of time, it feels like. But I am just always trying to learn new things and figure out new ways of doing things, and this year it's been the sewing machine. So last year I learned how to knit, and this year I am learning how to use the sewing machine. Am I amazing at knitting? No, but can I do it? Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not advanced in any stretch of the imagination in knitting, but it was something I learned how to do. The year before that, I learned how to edit and upload a video onto YouTube. And I mean, I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know about iMovie. I didn't know how to upload it or anything at all. So I'm constantly trying to learn new things. I've learned how to use my juicer this year. Last year, I baked my one and only loaf of bread. I don't bake bread often. Maybe once there's more mouths to feed in the house when they're older, then I would consider making bread. But because it's just the two of us, I don't generally want to spend the effort on making bread because we don't eat through it that fast. So I'll show you here. I got my first pair of fabric scissors, which are very nice. My dad got those for me, which was very sweet of him. He has been very supportive, and my mom and I trying to relearn how to use a sewing machine. Well, learn for me, relearn for her. And my sewing machine was actually his mom's. So my sewing machine is brand new. Not that she didn't ever sew, but I don't know how close it was to her passing away that she had bought this sewing machine, but this is a much newer machine than the one that she had. The one that she had just bit the dust. So I have a newer machine, but it's because she was the one who purchased it. So she never used it. So I came into learning to sew on a sewing machine with a very low cost barrier. It's definitely different if you're having to buy a brand new machine, and I know sometimes people say you can find them secondhand. I personally have not seen one. The only time I've ever seen one was years ago. We got my mom's at a yard sale, and it was also brand new at that time. And so it's not something that I see much anymore. I think there's been a lot more of a uptick in people trying to learn old crafts. So finding things like sewing or sewing machines or a bread machine or other craft things are much harder than they used to be. And you can see I'm very focused on trying to thread this machine. I really loved taking my intro to sewing machine class, or it's called You and Your Sewing Machine or something like that. And the instructor was amazing. I'm always looking and following places within, I'd say, a 2-hour driving distance generally of my area to see if there's any courses or classes that I would want to take, especially because I wanted to take some things before my son gets here, because that'll be what I'm doing for a while is just being a mom. So I saw this class and my mom and I decided to take it together. She wanted a sewing machine refresher for herself as well. So I'm very excited. This was just my first time. It's always hardest to do something the very first time you do it. The first time I used my juicer and I had to really read the instructions of how to take it apart, how to put it back together after it was cleaned, what things not to put in it, what things you could put in it, were all very difficult. And it's a learning curve. I think anything you want to learn how to do is going to be a learning curve. It's just trying to find the motivation to do it. And it's something that I've heard Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone talk about on her podcast a lot, and I found it very convicting of how, people will message her and ask her, like, how does she find the time to do all of the things she does, and have, like, I think she has 8 or 9 children. She has a lot of children. And she said, like, just as she learns new things, eventually they just become second nature for her. So I'm hoping that that's what sewing will be eventually on the sewing machine, that I can just pick up a pattern and purchase fabric and be able to sew things for myself. So that is my biggest hope. The number one thing I want to sew right now would be some nursing dresses, because I don't see them on the market very often, and just something that's really flattering postpartum and all of that would be lovely. I know there's one brand, I think it's called Super Cute Dresses by Ringer. You can look them up on Instagram. They make the style that I would like to learn to make, and the only reason I haven't purchased any from them is because they sell out really quickly whenever they do a drop or a launch of their dresses. So clearly they are filling a gap in the market. So you see that I'm folding out my sewing table because I forgot to do that the first time. And it has a hole in it for you to put your sewing machine, but I would then have had to have unplugged all the things and re-threaded them through the table, and I said, I'm good. I just will put it on the edge. So this table I've had forever, and when I was first married, we got it at a yard sale, maybe for $15, the table and the chair, or maybe less. I have no idea, but we got it. It's antique, I'm pretty sure, from a yard sale. It's at least old. And we had it as our front little entry table when we lived in our first apartment, and then the next place we lived in and rented, it didn't fit anywhere, so we put it out on our porch to be decorative, and it almost got ruined. Luckily my dad is good at refinishing furniture, so he saved it. And then when we moved in here, once I got the sewing machine, he prioritized getting it fixed so I'd have a table to sew on. So I'm just thrilled to be able to have a workspace. I feel very blessed to have like a designated spot for my sewing machine and for my table. So I'm very thankful for all of that. So now we're finally going to get into the part where I'm actually sewing. I, of course, like I said before, just needed to hem it. So really, if you were better about winding the bobbin and knew how to thread it super easily, then, well, it would be a lot easier and would go a lot quicker for somebody who knew how to do it. But I just want to encourage you that if there's something you want to try, to just go ahead and go for it. Even if it takes a really long time the first time, even if you mess up. You'll see at the end of this, and I didn't film all of it, I had to rip this stitches out multiple times. Not out of the whole skirt, but just one section at the very end that I kept messing up because I was pulling on the fabric too much, messing up the tension. It was very frustrating, but I called my mom and she helped me with the end part, which is why I didn't film it. And I had to call her and ask her opinion of what did she think I was doing wrong and send her a photo and everything. So luckily it's fixed, thank goodness. And it feels good knowing that you know how to do things. So don't let your lack of knowledge keep you from wanting to try. And with the internet now, there's so many ways to learn and pick up new skills that generations before us just did not have nearly the access to. And I feel very fortunate for that fact. I mean, there's so many YouTubers out there for honestly any skill that you want to pick up, whether it's gardening or sourdough bread or sewing or knitting or crochet. Crochet is still something in my mind I would like to learn. But there's just a million projects and things that you can learn how to do, and don't let the fear of not knowing how to do them stop you. Like I said, crochet is on my list at some point to learn how to do, because I've seen lots of those cute little amaguri, I think is the name of them, toys, like little cute stuffed animals. I think those would be super fun to make for kids. I think in the future I would like to learn how to make some candies because I love divinity and I've heard it's quite challenging to make it, but you know what? Doesn't mean we shouldn't try. And people have made it before. And I think my new motto is, if they can, why can't I? If somebody else can do it, can make something, why can't I make it? There's no reason that I couldn't be able to do it, you know? Sometimes it's hard to just narrow down what are the things you want to try. So you just have to go with your natural inclinations. Like something I don't really feel like trying right now, and maybe I will one day, but at the moment, is sourdough. I have no interest in making sourdough bread. I like sourdough bread, and I get it clearanced sometimes from a local bakery when they don't sell enough of theirs. But it's one of those things that my husband has also said, because we're able to get it on clearance locally from a bakery, like why put all of the effort into trying to learn it when I can get it probably for cheaper than I can make it myself, which I totally understand. And some of you might be like, I would have no interest in learning how to hem or sew my own clothes because, you know, you don't have the time for it. And you have to do the things that make you happy. And it makes me happy to find little projects that are productive, and productive hobbies, I guess is a good way to say it. Things that you are doing that end up being productive in the end. And not every hobby is productive. I read a whole ton. I wouldn't call that productive, but it's good for your brain health. And learning new skills is also great for your brain health. Great to keep your mind active. And yeah, what's not to love? You learn a new skill and it's good for you. All awesome and great things. So I'm very excited to start this sewing journey. And this was a lovely way to spend my Saturday afternoon. I just sat down and was like, hey, I'm going to do this. All right, y'all, so I finished it. I'm going to put it on the dress form. I would try it on for you, but yeah. I put it on so I could at least see where the hem laid, and I think it's pretty straight. I mean, professional? No. But my first time ever hemming something, I think it's pretty great. but I'm going to show you on my dress form. So you'll still get to kind of like see it, but just not on me. It's too tight on me pregnant. And I don't need that on video on the internet. So let me show you real quick. All right, y'all. So here is the dress. Let me get out of the way so the lighting actually works. This is the dress. And so all I changed, of course, was the hem. And so this mannequin short, if you're curious why it looks like it's puddling on the floor, it's because the dress is short, or the dress form is short. But you can see the stitches. Let me see. Hold on. Am I holding it weird? Yeah, I'm holding it weird. You can see where my stitches were like not so hot, but then other areas, let me try to get it in my hand so you can actually see it, were much better. So some parts were better than others, but overall I think I did really well. So all in all, we saved a treasure from the landfill, a dress that has plenty of life left in it. We'll get to continue living, and now if I'm at the thrift store and I see something with the hem out, maybe I can consider sewing it. Also, if you see a thrift store item with only a little bit of the hem out, you can get a product called Stitch Witchery, which of course I'm not like sponsored by them or anything. It's been around like forever. That you use with an iron on to fix, like if say like just a tiny part of a hem is messed up, you can put in there and you iron it and it like fuses the fabric together, like melts, fuses it. Melts makes it sound like it's really messy, but I promise you it's not. So I'm thrilled to death. This dress will live to see another day. And yeah, I'm really excited. So let me know in a comment down below, do you sew? And if so, get it? If you sew, if so, what would you recommend as another first project? I have two in my head right now. One being working on a sewing machine cover, and the one that's a little bit more adventurous, but something that's more of a need, would be a nursing dress. I've seen some patterns. Well, one company that makes a few sewing patterns for dresses, and I would really, with like a nursing access, you know, where you like lift the top panel up to be able to nurse. So that's in my mind. So I don't know, but leave me a comment down below if you have any recommendations for projects. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and consider subscribing. I post new videos every week, and we are going to start getting into, hopefully, more sewing. Until next time, bye.